Before this video ends, someone will come to your mind. Maybe it's a friend, a coworker, a family member, or someone you trusted without question. Because the truth is, not every psychological trick is used by criminals or master manipulators. Some are used by ordinary people every single day, sometimes to get your attention, sometimes to win an argument, sometimes to make you feel guilty, and sometimes without even realizing they're doing it. The unsettling part isn't that these psychological tricks exist. It's that you've probably experienced several of them. Today, the human brain likes shortcuts. They're fast. They're efficient. Most of the time, they help us make quick decisions. But those same shortcuts can also influence the way we think, feel, and react. That's why two people can hear the exact same sentence, yet walk away with completely different emotions. By the end of this video, you'll begin noticing psychological patterns hiding inside everyday conversations. Once you see them, you can't unsee them. Let's start with one that almost everyone has experienced. You finally get home after a long day. You throw your phone onto the couch. A few minutes later, a message appears. "I guess you're too busy for me now." Just one sentence. No shouting, no accusations, no direct request. Yet almost instantly, you feel guilty. You start replaying the day in your head. Maybe I should have replied sooner. Maybe I hurt their feelings. Before you know it, you're apologizing. Not because you wanted to, because you suddenly felt responsible. This is one of the oldest psychological influence tactics, guilt tripping. Notice something interesting. The other person never said, "Reply to me." Instead, they planted a feeling, and your own brain finished the rest of the story. That's what makes guilt so powerful. Your mind creates the pressure for them. Now, guilt itself isn't bad. In healthy relationships, guilt helps us recognize mistakes and repair them. But repeated guilt tripping is different. Instead of solving problems, it quietly shifts emotional responsibility onto someone else. You've probably heard phrases like, "After everything I've done for you, fine, I'll just do it myself." Or, "I guess I don't matter anymore." Sometimes those words come from genuine hurt, but sometimes they're used because they work, not through force, through emotion. The next time you suddenly feel guilty during a conversation, pause for a moment. Ask yourself one simple question. Did I actually do something wrong? Or do I simply feel responsible for someone else's emotions? That one question can completely change the way you respond. But guilt isn't the strongest force influencing your decisions. There's something even more powerful. It silently shapes the restaurants you eat at, the products you buy, the opinions you believe, and chances are it influenced one of your decisions today before you even realized it. Think about the last time you searched for a restaurant online. One place had 12 reviews. The other had 20,000. Without thinking much, which one felt safer? Probably the second. Not because you knew the food was better, but because thousands of other people had already chosen it. Psychologists call this social proof. When we're unsure, our brains naturally look at what everyone else is doing. If a video has 10 million views, it immediately feels more valuable. If everyone around you laughs at a joke, you're more likely to laugh too. Popularity quietly becomes proof. And that's exactly why businesses love phrases like bestseller, most popular choice, trusted by millions. Sometimes those claims are true. Sometimes they're simply encouraging your brain to follow the crowd. The next time everyone seems to agree on something, ask yourself, do I believe this because it's true, or because everyone else believes it? Because the crowd is often right, but not always. Now imagine someone asks you for a tiny favor. Can you hold this for a second? Easy. You agree. A minute later, can you help me carry this to my car? Again, you say yes. If they had asked for the bigger favor first, you probably would have refused. This is called the foot in the door effect. When we agree to one small request, our brains naturally want to stay consistent. That small yes quietly makes the next yes easier. Companies use this all the time. A free account becomes a paid subscription. A free trial becomes a monthly membership. step by step, you move further than you originally planned. That's why it's worth asking yourself, am I saying yes because I want to, or because I already said yes once? But here's something even more interesting. Not every psychological trick starts by asking for something. Some of the most powerful ones begin by giving you something first. Walk into almost any supermarket, and sooner or later, someone offers you a free sample. It's just one bite, one sip, one small gift. Yet after accepting it, saying no somehow feels a little harder. That's not a coincidence. It's a psychological principle called reciprocity. For thousands of years, humans survived by helping one another. When someone gave us something, returning the favor strengthened trust and cooperation. That instinct still lives inside us. Most acts of kindness are genuine, but sometimes people use generosity to create a subtle feeling of obligation. A free gift, a favor, a compliment. None of these are bad on their own. The important question is, am I saying yes because I truly want to, or because I feel like I owe them something? That one question helps you separate kindness from pressure. Now here's something even stranger. What if the biggest person fooling you wasn't someone else? What if it was your own brain? Imagine believing that nobody likes you. One person forgets to reply to your message. Instantly, your brain says, "See, I knew it." But later that day, 3 other friends text you first. For some reason, those messages don't feel as important. This is called confirmation bias. Once we believe something, our brains naturally search for evidence that supports it, while quietly ignoring evidence that doesn't. That's why 2 people can witness the exact same event and walk away believing completely different things. The smartest people aren't the ones who are always right. They're the ones willing to ask, what if I'm wrong? Now think about the first time you met someone who looked confident. Maybe they dressed well, spoke clearly, smiled with confidence. Without realizing it, you probably assumed they were intelligent, trustworthy, maybe even successful. That's the halo effect. One positive quality quietly influences every other judgment. The opposite happens too. One bad first impression, and your brain starts looking for more flaws. The lesson? First impressions matter, but they don't tell the whole story. The most dangerous psychological shortcuts are the ones that feel completely natural, and the final one might be the strongest of them all, because it doesn't change how you see other people. It changes how you explain your own decisions. Have you ever bought something only to realize later you probably didn't need it, or defended an opinion even after discovering you were wrong? If so, you're not alone. Your brain is trying to protect you. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance. Whenever your actions and your beliefs don't match, your brain feels uncomfortable, and instead of admitting, maybe I made a mistake, it often creates a better story. I wanted this anyway. It's not that expensive. Everyone would have made the same choice. The decision doesn't change. Only the explanation does. That's why people sometimes stay in unhealthy relationships, keep bad habits, or refuse to admit they're wrong. Changing your mind feels painful, so your brain chooses comfort over truth. And that's one of the most powerful psychological tricks of all. Not because someone else is controlling you, but because your own mind quietly rewrites the story. Now think back to everything we've talked about. A single sentence can make you feel guilty. A crowd can influence your decisions. A tiny yes can lead to a much bigger one. A small favor can make saying no more difficult. Your beliefs can change the way you see reality. A first impression can shape how you judge someone. And your own brain can convince you that every decision you made was the right one. None of these tricks involve magic. They don't control your mind. They simply take advantage of shortcuts your brain already uses every day. And once you recognize those shortcuts, something changes. You pause before reacting. You question your first impression. You stop feeling guilty for things that aren't your responsibility. You make decisions because you choose to, not because someone quietly influenced you. That's the real power of psychology. Not controlling other people, understanding yourself. So before you leave, I want you to think about one question. Which psychological trick have you experienced most often? Was it guilt, following the crowd, or realizing your own brain was protecting your ego? Let me know in the comments. I read every one of them. And if you want to understand the hidden psychology behind attraction, confidence, manipulation, emotions, and everyday human behavior, subscribe to Dark Psychology Decode. Because the moment you understand how the mind really works, it becomes much harder for anyone, including your own mind, to influence you without your awareness. Until next time, stay curious, observe people carefully, and remember, the strongest psychological tricks are usually the ones that feel completely ordinary.